This is a public service announcement. We've got to stop sleeping on unders. I'm Dante. I run Dante's Data, where you find the most consistent players and teams across all sports every single day, so you don't have to guess. Today we're talking about unders and why the boring side is often the better side. And it's taken me almost 10 years of sports betting to realize this. So let's get into it. All right, so why does everyone love overs? You see people all over social media, over. People posting bets. It's always overs. One of the main reasons is people like the action. They like the dopamine. You want stuff to happen. You want crazy things to happen. And there's content everywhere and public bias pushing people to bet overs, especially when we're looking at stars, because we know that star players can go off at any moment. There's just something about you targeting a number and watching it go up and cashing your ticket. But the problem is, more often than not, Vegas already knows that that's going to happen, and that's why we adjust and almost have reverse psychology when it comes to betting overs versus unders. So why are unders quietly strong? So first off, you're starting every single game ahead. And there's nothing worse than when you take an over and the player gets hurt. I can't tell you how many times I've bet an over and the player ends up getting hurt. When you have the under, you're not hoping the player gets hurt, but if they do get hurt, that helps your bet quite a lot. Even if they're out of the game for a little bit, that puts them way behind schedule and puts you in a really good spot. Another thing is bookmakers and sportsbooks, they know that people love overs. The public loves overs and they're hammering overs. If sportsbooks are making a line, which is whatever the line might be. So let's say a certain player, they're setting their line at 28.5 points. Now the real value of that player might be 26.5 points, but Vegas knows that people are going to hammer overs. So they're much more likely to put a line higher than they are going to put a line lower and be okay with putting a line higher because they know more people like the overs. And more things help an under than hurt it. We already talked about injuries, but there are other situations where other players are injured. So for example, the other night I took Ryan Rollins under 33.5 points, rebounds, assists. I really like Ryan Rollins. I think he's had a breakout season. He's a great player. But just because all of his teammates are out does not mean all of that production is going to go to him. Now, will he get more production? Probably, but he ended up at 17 points, rebounds, assists when we took the under 33.5. So I love looking for inflated lines when there are injuries, even depending on who's out. Now, I obviously am going to look at how that player performed in our sports betting analytics software that is coming out very soon. Shows you how each player performs when certain players are out of the lineup. So when you see an inflated line like that, not only does that production have to shift to that player, but that player also has to have a good game, because at 33.5 total points for Ryan Rollins, he had gone under that line in 12 straight home games, and he was facing the Spurs, who are one of the top defenses. Very hard to do well versus the Spurs. They got Victor Wembanyama. I know he's not guarding Ryan Rollins, who's a guard, but still, they're a tough all-around defensive team. And if Ryan Rollins goes inside or anywhere near the paint, you got Victor Wembanyama with the darn near 8-foot wingspan locking things down. And also on top of that, he was 0 for 4 in his career versus the Spurs. So how do we use these unders to our advantage? So we're looking for those inflated spots, like my previous example with Ryan Rollins. It could be lots of different players. We've taken tons of players this year. We're very profitable on unders. You're going to look at the matchup in the pace. Again, this will be all in the platform releasing, but that all is going to matter. You know, are they fast-paced teams? Is this going to be a high-scoring game? Is it a good or bad matchup? Now, if Ryan Rollins was facing, let's say, the Jazz, who have one of the worst defenses in the league and they're currently tanking, it might not be such a strong play. But if it's inflated line and he's got a really tough matchup, not only does that production have to shift, but he also has to do well. And normally with overs, I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times when you take it over and it's just an ugly game, might be low scoring, it's just sloppy. And those ugly games happen quite often, and it helps you. You're not running overs. You want players to do worse. So not only do you have the chance that there could be an injury or that player's out, but it could be an ugly performance, not just by that player, but by the team. So if that player's teammates are doing terrible, that's going to affect that player as well, especially when you're running points, rebounds, assists. He's not going to get all of his assists if his teammates aren't hitting, and he's not going to get, his points and rebounds if the offense is not flowing like it normally does, which is much more likely when you have a matchup like the Spurs, who have a ranking of the top 1 to 3 defense, basically guarding almost every position on the floor. So next time you look at a slate, look for those inflated numbers. It's going to get easier than ever when our platform is released. It actually tags these lines and shows you the inflated lines. We have a feature where you can actually see, okay, this player normally has a line, let's say at 15.5 points, but today they have it inflated, and that line is at maybe 19.5 points or 21.5 points. So I would way rather find those spots where a player has to have a better than normal game than they're used to against a very difficult defense, rather than just finding a star player that is a really good scorer, has an easy matchup. But guess what? A lot of other people are thinking the same way, and so are the sports books. And I just looked at the last 12 unders that I played, and 9 of them won, 3 of them lost. So it's clearly been a very profitable strategy in the NBA so far this year. I could go back and check, but I know we are very far in the green when betting unders. So I hope this video helped and helped you think about how you bet when you look at overs and unders, and especially when you're scrolling around social media and see over, everybody playing overs. I just caution you, start looking at the unders, and if you play some unders here and there and compare it to your overs, I guarantee you're probably going to be a little impressed with the results. If this video helped, smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't. That way you don't miss any future videos, and I will see you in the next one.